love telling you about good books. And we love telling you about all kinds of things. We have a graphic novel to tell you about. We haven't had one of these, I'm going to say ever. Have we ever had a graphic novel before?
I don't think we have.
I don't think we have either. Scooter Girl is the graphic novel we're talking about. It is such a wonderful story, and it is marvelously illustrated. We have the author on the phone, Darielle Mack. Good morning, Darielle. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, you two. Thanks for having me on.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
Right now I'm in LA.
Okay.
I'm in LA doing business, but I live in Sedona.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you for being on there with us. So how does this all come together for you? Does the idea hit you like when you're driving? Do you actually drive a scooter, by the way?
Well, no, it's a funny thing, right? So I had been traveling because I've lived in different places in the world, and so I came back. I had actually come back at one point to LA. I hadn't had a car, and I ran into somebody who was inventing scooters, these electric scooters, and he ended up gifting me one sort of as a promotional,
Oh, wow.
part of his promotional thing. And it helped me build the story idea, because in the traffic in LA, it was such a different experience to be on this electrical scooter that, next to the Mercedes and the Beamer.
Oh my gosh.
And just pulling up quietly, and I would be grinning and looking at these massive vehicles, and it started creating this narrative in my mind about, being part of a quiet way to just heal the earth, right? The electric, you slow down, you hear things, you feel things, it's just a different experience. You're able to just see the earth in a different way,
right,
when
yeah.
you're not part of that traffic.
Yeah, I think we experienced the same thing with bicycles one time. We were not young, but we were riding bicycles, and I said to Robin, "This is like when I was a kid. I could smell the grass." You forget, right?
Yeah, you forget what's around you, because in your car you're usually in this bubble. So anyway, it was one of the ways that the doorway opened up in my brain for a story about this. And the stories that I work on are about telling stories about the earth, that heal the earth, that are for a global audience. I mean, I write both books, plays, and screenplays. And so all of those medias and the stories that I try to tackle, because I grew up all over the world, is bringing people together through stories about the earth. And I think that healing the earth today and healing relationships and friendships, creating friendships, is huge when we're in a fear-based, seems to be everything is just being pulled apart and everybody's afraid and there's destruction. And instead of doing what that seems to be the impetus of media, to just tell more stories about destroying, I'm trying to bring things together in this story, trying to heal things.
And I love the fact that Amber is a true female. She's not trying to be a man. She loves being a woman, and even though she's coming of age and everything, she is a female, and I love that.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because we worked hard. I worked hard in creating the story. I had a female artist draw the character so that she would look like us, like a girl and a woman on the page, instead of, it's just different. Although I had a wonderful artist, Del Barras, who's a graphic artist who's worked on books for DC Comics and Marvel, and worked with Disney and other big companies. But it was important to have the main character female, and that females we don't have to, and it's this idea that we can be leaders and we can be heroes and we can be strong, but we don't have to pick up a gun to do that. There's lots of other ways to show strength, and it's not always through violence. And that's, I think, that's something we as women or girls are raised with, but maybe it's a little bit lost in the way that we're represented in media, because a lot of the times we're rebuilt in an image of a male hero instead of an authentic female hero.
Oh,
I love
that.
this.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I, you know what? I don't think you and Robin and I are the only three people on the planet who think that way. I think a lot of people do, right? Don't you think? Yeah. So I'm glad you're saying it, because maybe we're not the only ones thinking it, but you might be the only one saying it.
No, I don't. But I'm an underdog, and it's okay working. You work on small projects and you feel like an underdog. But to get people responding positive to something that you're doing is a wonderful feeling. And I hope that more people like the story and it catches on. And we're trying to build this great film team around this as I'm working on the second book, and we've written the script, and all of these things are going on. So it's an exciting experience. And we're trying to find a female director for this, coming of age story about a superhero, which sounds to make it genuine. But you would think that that's an easy task, but it's very difficult.
So,
to actually
Well,
find
Nancy Myers, right?
Nancy Myers would be great.
Yeah, she's terrific. She's done rom-coms. This is what's different is this is actually a fantasy adventure. Nancy Myers is an amazing director, and we'd welcome her interest in the project. It's funny. It's a lot of times what I've learned is that female directors do romantic comedies or they do drama, but approaching people about fantasy adventures, it's like we just had the wonderful Wonder Woman movie. But that was the Marvel Empire. So, they come at it, unlike the underdog independent, with this big echelon of money and support behind them. So it's a little bit of a different endeavor.
Right. So the designing of Amber, you said was done by a female artist, right? Even though the actual... I'm sorry? Right.
So the Amber herself, and what was fascinating about that is I had taken her out. I had said when I written the story in the book, I was like, okay, now we need to find a way to create this character, and I took it to some male artists that I knew, and she came back looking like a vixen, and I was like, wait a minute, she's just 16. She's not just.
I hear you. I know what they did. They did very breasty and round butts and things like that, right?
Yeah.
It was.
I hear.
It was just so, and it was like an eye opener to me to realize that that's the way we're presented or we're seen, and I was like, that's not she. So then I sought out a female artist to work with us, and to hire, and found. In order to find a way to really say, this is what we look like.
And Amber, the character of Amber is just really, really cool because she's self-disciplined. She taught herself the violin. That's her magical thing. And she knows what she wants. She doesn't want to be run by somebody else. And this has a lot of intrigue in the story.
Thank you for that. And that's a funny thing. Well, the story mixes ancient worlds like Gaelic and Scandinavian. I tried to infuse lore and then bring it into the modern world where we've got technology. And so she comes from an ancient world in the Northern Sea where the arts of music and healing and all kinds of things are just part of her everyday world. And she comes and she's schooled in these things. So when she arrives in a modern world, she doesn't understand that these gifts that she's developed or that are part of her world are actually powers.
Oh, wow.
Are lost.
Sounds like you. I think there's a lot of you in her. Darielle, thank you for doing this. Rob and I both love the book. The one thing we wish, the only one thing we wish it was longer. We wished it was bigger.
Well, there's more to come. The idea is that there's more to come. This is the first book. The second book is coming. We have more books to come.
Well,
so it's nice wanting more.
Thank you for including us in on your radio tour, and please don't forget us when you hit the big time. We'd love to have you back.
Oh, we thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Darielle. We'll be right back.
This is James Snyder, inviting you to join me each Sunday morning at 9:30 for Sunday Joy on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hey, Adam, those burgers gonna be done before summer's over?
Maybe. Why? You got big plans for the summer?
Not really. Just the usual, kids hanging around the house. How about you?
Actually, I'm having Joshua get his pilot's license this summer.
What? Is he old enough? Can you really do that in just the summer?
Yeah, you can get your pilot's license at 17, and the summer is plenty of time. Plus, this could be the start to his career as an airline pilot.
That is a great idea. I bet Tyler would love that. Actually, I would too.
You guys should do it.
I don't have time for that. Some of us have to work for a living, you know?
Not you, no. Seriously, they work around your schedule.
Really? That's cool. Where are you going?
Ocala Aviation, at the airport off 60th.
How'd you hear about it?
I heard about it on the radio, then I stopped in. I've got a card if you want the number.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get my phone.
Hurry up, the burgers are burning.
Okay, I'm ready. Go ahead.
861-7484.
Hold on, I missed a number.
Ah, such a slacker. Here it is again. 861-7484.
Excellent. I'm gonna call them now.
How about we eat before you start your new adventure?
That's probably a good idea.
You think?
Here is your 1-minute news brief from the source WOCA. Marion County Schools now have a formal plan to place a school resource officer in every school. Last night, that plan was passed unanimously by the school board. 56 school resource officers will be provided for the 51 schools in Marion County. The school resource officer plan will cost $3.7 million.